But it is true. This is one of the biggest lessons we learned from Lane's death. He had struggled, really, for the most part of his nearly 27 years with a condition that was called neurochemical depression. But we had a rich, warm, wonderful family life, and he was kind of at the center of it. The last guy you would ever expect to take his own life. So the love was there. If it's true that hope is what makes us get up in the morning, or at least helps us to get up in the morning, and you don't have that. His body was fighting him as well, and he was feeling that he was on a downward trajectory. So the faith was challenged, the hope was disappearing. All he had left was love, and it wasn't enough. I've subsequently applied that much more broadly. That's just true of love, of life as a whole. It's true of a marriage. It's true of any relationship. It takes more than just love. Though, to listen to popular music, etc., we think that love conquers all. Unfortunately, it doesn't.
Hello, friends, and welcome to a very special edition of the Wyatt Matters Show. And I say special because this is the first of what will be many long-format conversations that we want to have with interesting and impactful people. And most of them are people you probably haven't even heard of, which makes it all the more fun. The second reason this is a special moment is because I'm sitting with two of the most important people of my life. I love these guys. One of them you know fairly well. He's one of our co-hosts, and you probably already like him way better than you like me, but I'm going to keep him around anyway. I'm talking, of course, about Bruce Templeton. The other gentleman, not that Bruce is a gentleman, but the other guy, he's the reason we're having this conversation. It's not often you meet someone who, after earning his PhD from a Vanderbilt University, decided to become a pastor. And even more remarkable, he's now in his 8th decade serving as a pastor. In fact, he was a youth pastor when I was still in diapers. And I am old. It's even rarer to meet a pastor with a PhD who was also a university president with the church in one state and the school in another. But then, when you find out that this PhD/pastor/president has penned, did you catch the 4 Ps there, guys? By my count, he has penned 30 books. Are you kidding? I haven't read that many.
I've looked at a few.
And I'm going to stop right there, because if I did a full readout on this man's achievements, we'd have no time left to talk. So let me just speak on a personal level. I met you, Dr. LeRoy Lawson, through your writings. In fact, you're the one who first inspired me to want to write. I came to know you when you were my prof, and both your accessibility and the way you used language were so appealing to me that I quickly adopted you as my mentor. And since our master's program was quite small, I got to spend a lot of one-on-one time with you, and that's how you became my friend. But then, when you sent me a copy of your latest book, and I realized that you and I are fellow travelers on the road of suffering, well, that's when you became my hero.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Steve.
Bruce, do you have any words you want to add to that?
Well, I'm not near, as you both know, I'm not near as eloquent as either one of you. But much along the same journey, a colleague, I guess I would say, hearing Roy preach on various occasions, and then I too was in the master's program a year after you, Steve, and he became my professor, my teacher, and my friend. Even though I made fun of him a lot, he was the only one of our professors in that program that really appreciated my humor. At least I thought so. So
Yes.
And then a co-worker. I was on the board at Hope International when Roy was president. Matter of fact, I was there when he came, was on the board when we hired him, and I was chairman of the board when he retired from the university. So it was a great journey, but just building our friendship through the years, and the three of us, if anything, anybody learns about us today is going to be that we love to laugh at each other most of the time.
Exactly.
So, I'm glad to have
we love
this time.
we love to laugh, but we also laugh because we love each other.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Yeah. Roy, I'm going to hand the mic to you in just a moment. I just want you to know, over the years, you've made both of us want to be better men, better pastors, better friends. And it's an honor to be able to spend this time with you. So here's the mic.
What am I supposed to do with it?
Well, you've never had trouble with a microphone as long as it's on. We can dive in if there's nothing you want to say. That's fine.
Well, I do want to say what an honor it is for me to be here with you guys and to be able to reflect with you guys, because our journey together has been long and rich and very rewarding. And when you first invited me, I got your invitation to come on the show. I thought, oh man, coming on the show is going to be easy. Leaving the show is going to be hard because our lives have intersected so much over the years, and we've been able to walk together in a journey that I can't imagine being more rewarding than ours individually and together has been.
That's great. Well, thank you. Let's just dive in. There's a number of things that I want us to cover, but I just want to do it in a very casual, warm-hearted way, especially for those in the audience that aren't really connected in a faith journey themselves. And so we're going to try to avoid, just for you who are listening, inside baseball with church stuff, but at the same time, it is a part of our journey. So I think this will be helpful to many. Roy, you've had a great run by any standard, but I wonder, you are a teacher after all. If you were to assign to Bruce and to me a paper that we should write on the topic of your ministry legacy, how would you want that paper to read?
I don't know how I would want to label it. I know how I would want you to finish it. I would want you to talk about what your investment in the people you worked with, how that investment paid off. Because we're now talking in our maturity. It's really interesting. As I think about those years we were together in class, I was very young as a professor. And when I think back now of what I thought I knew then, compared with what I know I don't know now, just great gaps. But one thing I knew then, and I still know now, and that is that our lives have been, our journeys have been about people. And our investment has been in people. In every one of my ministries, I got involved in building projects. It's really interesting to me. Starting with the church I began back in 1959. That'll tell your audience how old I am. I started a church with 7 people, stayed with it 6 years, and we built a building. What I did not know was that I would be building buildings the rest of my life, every ministry I've had. And most of the people that I worked for, that is, those who were in charge of the buildings, would tell everybody who knew me, Lawson doesn't know a thing about building. And I let them think that because I also knew that I would be involved in all kinds of stuff I didn't want to be involved with if they caught on that I knew what was going on. So I didn't let them know that, but that first building we built was completed in 1964. We were still, when Bruce and I were together, at the end of the major part of my career. we were still involved in building a campus, extending the campus, and building a new building. I can go back to all those places now, and I can show people the buildings I was involved in building.
Mm-hmm.
What is interesting to me now is how little that means to me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take them back and show them the people I got to work with.
Yeah.
And as a pastor, the people I got to marry and bury and walk through their heartaches with. I want your paper to end up on that theme, I think, because you guys have had the same experience.
Well, I think I'd be in that same spot in terms of what I would write. I think I told you the other day when we were talking about this conversation that if I had to right now, as much as I've loved your preaching and as many of your books as I've read, I could not, on command, tell you one thing that you said. I mean, not to drill it in, but not one paragraph, not one sentence, not one phrase, not one measly little word. And yet, now that I've thoroughly discredited your work, it is your impact on me as a man that has forever changed how I've done ministry.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. But you reminded me of my children. You know, they couldn't remember anything I said in the moment I was saying it to them. So I understand.
Bruce, you have something you want to add?
Well, you just made me a better leader. I think you wrote a book on leadership, and that I haven't read all your books. That's one I did read. But I will also say that working alongside of you at the university all those years, when it came time and you were on your exit graduation that year, I took a phone call from another university that we were talking merger with. And when they started dictating what they wanted, they were the weaker vessel in this merger. I said, well, this conversation's over. And I said, it's been nice chatting with you. And I hung up the phone. And I thought, I don't know if I could have done that if I hadn't had my shoulder to shoulder with Roy Lawson. It's just that, you just made me a better leader.
Bruce, you brought that up, leadership, and that's one of the things that I do want to talk about. Roy, I want you to talk about leadership, what you know now compared to what you knew even when you wrote the book. And what is it that made you so impactful as a leader? I know very few people who could set vision and move organizations forward that were as large as Central Christian Church and Hope International University. So you have a gold mine of things to share. But what have you learned in the interim between when you wrote the book and what you know now?
Well, I suppose when I was young, I was pretty well dedicated, although I wasn't very conscious of it maybe at the time. But I think it's fair to say I was building a career. I was feeding a family. I was, and you notice I'm saying I. It was a lot about me, I'm afraid. And I was self-consciously I had all kinds of insecurities, of course, and I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to do something. I did feel called into the ministry. I never doubted that. But the egotistical element was present, I'm afraid. As I matured, I realized I couldn't make it about me. If I made it about me, I would be really primarily concerned about holding my job, of getting my name in the paper, being somebody. And even in that very first church, that little church that I started, I had wonderful mentors, all lay people. Um, the first associate minister we had was a retired fireman with a sixth grade education, and he was my mentor because he was a godly man. He was a real man, a man's man. The reason we could hire him is he had to leave the fire department because of smoke damage to his lungs. But men like him, I began listening to, learning from, and realized I had the book learning, but I didn't have what they had, and
Yeah.
I wanted to learn from them, and so I turned them loose in a sense. This man I'm talking about, Randy Carls was his name. He gave me a compliment that I didn't deserve. Went back to Portland, Oregon, many years after I had left there and gone into teaching. And I was called to speak for a meeting of the Evangelistic Association that started churches in the Portland area, and they honored him that evening. I got to be there for that honor. And so I spoke a little bit about him. And in my comments commending him, I talked about this man with an eighth grade education who had taught me so much. And he came up afterwards and he said, "Roy, I want to thank you." I said, "For what, Ryan?" He said, "You gave me 2 more years of education than I ever had." Well, he had a PhD in living and loving.
Yes.
And so starting clear back then, I had the opportunity to work with some of the finest people. And they helped me to see that the building of a church, the building of a university later on, it wasn't about me at all. It was about turning these people loose to be who they were, to give what they had to give in a mutual endeavor, a mission, if you please. And
So leadership is not you being the superstar, but empowering those that are under your leadership. Is that what you're saying? You've learned that?
I have, and I want to give you another example. I inherited the youth minister that was already on the job when I took the church in Mesa, Arizona. Steve Wyatt was his name. He's still one of my heroes because he helped to raise our children in that church. And I watched how he did it. He's not the guy that you would immediately think of as the razzle-dazzle youth minister. A very competent man, but he never put himself forward at all. And I studied his style. He never got on the stage if he could help it. He got the kids up there on the stage, and he developed them. My 3 benefited from him immensely, and I realized I was the lead pastor, but he was the kind of pastor I wanted to be.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the guy that didn't have to be on the stage, but could be in that front row cheering on the kids, if you please.
Kind of along with that theme, I think one of the things that I've noticed is your ability to impact on that personal level, in spite of PhD, in spite of lead pastor and university president. And I'm sure that there are many more than just Bruce and me. So powerfully impacted. Could you share a story or two of a young man or woman that you fed into and maybe they went on to do some amazing things?
Oh, I've got lots of stories like that. A recent one, I was speaking in Omaha, Nebraska for one of my former interns, and he's now the minister of a very large church there. And he's the kind of minister, again, that I admire. He's kind of quiet. He's not the center of the stage. I mean, he is the lead minister. He has all the titles and all of that, but he's just quietly done the job. And I'm hesitant to name too many names. I've already named one, and I'm leaving out dozens. But I don't know that I can answer that one very well. I would have to have those impacted answer that question.
Fair enough.
Maybe this story would help you. I had a guy, Jim Shields was his name. He had a brand new PhD from Syracuse University in New York, and he came onto our staff that I was ministering at the time in Indianapolis as an intern. This PhD came to be an intern with me, and we had a wonderful year together. One evening, early on, he went out calling with me, and he told me this story later. And he said when he got home, his wife Donna asked him, "Well, what did you learn tonight?" And he said, "Well, I learned that Roy Lawson is Roy Lawson wherever he is." Well, that's not a lesson, that's not in the books. But I've remembered that because I guess that's what I want to be. I want to be Roy Lawson. I don't want to be Dr. Lawson. I don't want to be lead pastor Lawson. I want to be Roy. And it's fun for me. I go back to my home state of Oregon now, and I was there this year. I'm going back next year to do some speaking. And they don't know I'm Dr. Lawson.
Yeah.
I'm Roy, who grew up over there in Tillamook, and that's how I'm introduced when I speak, and I just love it.
Bruce, you might have seen some of that impact that I'm talking about. Do you have anyone that comes to mind? Again, not names, but just the way that Roy was able to lean into the lives of young men, young women.
Well, it's always been a joy for me to be, I don't know if I've ever been a mentor. I don't have the organizational skill, I think, to ever be a mentor to anybody. But over the years, I look now across the country and see guys that were on my staff or came up through a youth group and are leading in ministries, not just in the pastorate, but in national stuff. One of them is right now a good friend and contemporary who is yesterday on the steps of the Supreme Court interviewing a guy that's on a case there. And I thought, I knew that kid when he was weaving stuff at church camp, and it was a part of his life. And it just, it's a joy more than anything to see young people who have grown up and have been a part of our lives and are making a real difference in our world for the good of the cause. So it's there's two or three that come to mind, but they're just so solid. And it's been a joy to have them in my life, and I hope I've been equally the joy for them and theirs.
Roy, if I were to kind of synthesize your leadership lessons that we've discussed, is humility is a big factor in great leadership. Approachability is another, and then authenticity. And from where I sit, I have seen you display those in equal measure and with an integrity that just has never wavered. Not that I've known you throughout all of the 8 decades of your ministry, but yeah. Anyway, hey, folks, we will be right back. Welcome back. Glad to have you today, and even more thrilled to have a very special guest, Dr. LeRoy Lawson, a longtime friend and mentor, and certainly also one of my very, very treasured heroes. Roy, just putting together this interview was quite a challenge. Nailing you down to a time when you could fit this interview into your schedule was a monumental undertaking. Even at the age God has given you, and you can share that if you wish, dashing off to this location, speaking at that event, a writing deadline here, another conference there. I mean, even now, you keep such a heavy schedule, and I love that about you. I hope that I can do that. But how do you do it?
You have to have married well to begin with, because very few women would have tolerated my schedule over the years the way Joy has. But then on the other hand, you have to be sufficiently obnoxious at home that she's glad to have you go from time to time.
And I'm sure you excel in that as well.
Yes, we have what is called a well-balanced relationship. Honestly, I don't plan that stuff. It kind of comes. Now, I would tell you a little bit more has come this year because of the publication of my most recent book, the one on our son's suicidal death, and so I've been speaking in a number of churches that want to explore that topic, both preaching about it and leading seminars on the subject. So that has made this a busier year than usual. But I also finally made an observation, because I'm going back to a lot of places that I've been to regularly through the years, and I just picture my friends talking to one another, and they're saying one unto the other, you know, Lawson is getting really old. If we want to have him speak, we better get him on the schedule right away.
The clock is ticking.
So this really has been an unusually busy year for guest speaking.
I would think, Roy, that health is also a factor. Have you been blessed with unusually good health?
Well, that's really an interesting question. When I was a child, I was terribly asthmatic. And my hope was that I could live to see the year 2000. And so I've had 25 bonus years. Outgrew much of the asthma. I do not have a strong constitution. I had, in most recent years, well, I have a lot of arthritis. And that's slowing me down because I have my right ankle is just about gone. So that's my bad foot. And then just 2-3 months ago, I broke my left foot. So that means that with every step I take, I have to decide which one am I going to favor this time.
And so both of them are screaming.
They are. I do have, I think, all the aches and pains of old age. And there are those moments when, you know, you have to actually force yourself out of bed to get going because it's just so much easier not to. But once you're up and about, you're glad that you're up and about.
Can I ask you something about that? Do you have advice that you could share with people who have those same maladies, that struggle with chronic pain or are dealing with some sort of catastrophic illness, about pressing through anyway?
Well, I think I do. I think the first thing I would say to them is don't think you're special. If you're going to live as long as I've lived, or even as long as you guys have lived, you're going to know a lot of physical challenges.
Yeah.
It's the exceptional person who doesn't have those challenges. The norm is this is what it means to grow older. You just, quite some time ago, when people would ask me how I was doing, I would answer, well, all the parts are working. Almost.
We don't really have to go there.
That was about the best I could do. But honestly, if you concentrate on the hurts, you got plenty to concentrate on.
Right.
So I think you just kind of have to accept those as givens and decide what you're going to do with an increasingly limited resources physically that you have.
Yeah.
And it's a decision.
You know, when I was younger, I used to, say from the pulpit that, I want to die with my boots on. And my idealistic death would be to die while I'm preaching and the elders have to cart me out. And, it's one thing to say that. But now I'm at a point where I have to live that. And those are two very different things. God laid this tremendous opportunity in my lap to do this show. And those were my first questions. Can I do it? Do I have the energy? Do I still have the faculties required to make it happen? And I think where faith comes in is you do it. You just do it. And then you find out, well, maybe I do have it after all.
Well,
Yeah, you have more than you thought you did. The people I feel sorry for in old age are the people who feel sorry for themselves. Because life hasn't been fair to them. They've got a heavier load than that they should have to carry. But most of those people, I've been watching them close enough for quite some time, most of those people have gone through their lives, centering their lives on what they've got coming to them, what they think they deserve, how they're being treated. They're not people who have concentrated on what they can do for others, give to others, be to others. And so in their old age, there they are, pretty much by themselves. And they learned how to feel sorry for themselves when they were younger. They got really good at it by old age.
Good observation.
No, I'm not at all minimizing. Honestly, that was more callous than I feel. There are some people who have terrible, terrible challenges, health-wise, and I know that, and my heart goes out to them. But
I do think. No, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
That's all right, please.
I know so many instances of people who just stopped. I hate the word retirement, and I know that's so. It's easy to say again, I don't believe in retirement, blah, blah, blah. But I watched my dad retire from ministry. He sat in his chair. He was a sick man, don't get me wrong. But he sat in his chair, watched TV, read the news, and was dead within 6 months. And I think when you stop, that's when you drop. And
I agree.
And so anyway, I'm just amazed at your energetic spirit, and I just hope you keep going and going and going until the Lord takes you home.
Well, it's probably going to be in a wheelchair because my feet are failing. But you're dead right. I decided a long time ago I want to live until I die. And it's a choice.
Absolutely.
But somebody else said I want to die young as late as possible.
Bruce, do you have any thoughts about this?
Well, no, I don't. As one who has retired, you make me feel guilty in all of this, thinking I'm kind of sitting in my chair and I'm doing yard work and I'm helping out my family, and I'm thinking this. I do get bored. I want you to know I get bored and have looked at other avenues to stay busy, but I work so hard all of my life, I'm kind of catching up on all that sleep I lost and all the anxiety I felt, and when
I want to respond to you, Bruce, because I don't want anything I've said to be hanging a guilt trip on anybody. Here's something, again, I was not aware enough of when I was young, and that is, and it's a cliche, okay, we are all different.
Yeah.
And we can drive ourselves insane by comparing ourselves to other people. I'm not like them. I'm not like them. Well, of course you're not like them. There can only be one of you, and in your case, Bruce, we're quite grateful. Sorry, that just slipped.
No, yeah, I've been waiting for that line all day.
Well,
but it is the truth, and the three of us, we're a good example. We are so different from each
Yeah.
other, and it is part of that. It is it is that difference that partially explains our attraction to each other.
yeah, I think you're right. There's a couple of things I'd like to touch on with this whole idea of longevity. I think one of the very impressive things to me about your ministry probably wouldn't be listed under most people's estimation of what ministry is. But you wrote a book on this topic, and I'd love for you to explore it, and that's Velcro Families.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked.
Yeah, would you explain what that even is?
Yes, the word explains it pretty well. In fact, the title of that book is Velcro Families, they stick. And our Velcro family is just a group of misfits. In fact, we have a rule. You cannot get into our family if you're from a functioning one. We are a group of people who, and it starts with me. My parents were divorced, and that taught me an awful lot. And over the years, we've added, with every ministry we've had, starting with that first ministry back in Oregon when Joy and I were still kids, really, we've taken into our home, or into our circle anyway, people who needed a home, needed a family. And we laughed when we were together. We laugh a lot about this rule. We talk about Mike Pryor. Mike is one of our Velcro sons. And by the way, my oldest Velcro son is 78 years old, just to let you guys know. Been going on a long, long time. But with every ministry, we've added somebody. The one I love to talk about is Brian, who was added in our Arizona ministry. We had just moved there, and he and a bunch of other guys started hanging out at our house. And that's because we moved there with 2 teenage daughters. So we had lots of company at the house, and Brian actually dated our daughter Kim once or twice, maybe 3 times. I don't know how many. Well, not very many, but I noticed he didn't go away when they were no longer dating. One morning, woke up and found that he'd spent the night sleeping on the couch in the family room, and so I said to him with what I thought was evident sarcasm, "So, Brian, do you want to just move in?" And he did, and that story is dated 1979, and he's still in our family. This summer, we had the 30th anniversary of our annual all Velcro family vacation. And all of us, not all of us, but 67 of us cruised around the Hawaiian Islands for a week together. Now that means that's kind of a symbol. You invest in these people if you want to do that. Darren Ronde, who recently retired from a ministry in Colorado Springs, said to me over coffee one day, "Roy, I think your most significant ministry is the Velcro family." And that really touched me. If we were all together at once, and we can't get them all together at once, so there are about 100 of us now. We've just picked these people up along the years. And of course, the Velcros then Velcro, and they bring their own into the family. But it's been a wonderful experience with these people, of whom Joy and I, to whom we belong, because both of us, as we examine our own family and our own background, realized it was the brokenness of our own upbringing and of our own families that helped us to recognize the brokenness in others. And so we brought them in and fell in love with them and haven't let them go. That's the essence of the Velcro family.
Yes.
And the book I wrote on the Velcro family, my favorite part of it is at the end, when I just really explained what having a Velcro family has taught me about the nature of the church. We are kind of a church, just a group of misfits that don't belong everywhere, but we do belong to each other.
That's great. That's great.
That is good.
The other thing I'd like to talk about is your writing. I think your first book was published when I think the year after I graduated high school. Again, not to date you.
Well, I think that one came out in 1974. Does that sound right?
Yes, I graduated in 73.
Okay.
And then your most recent book was published just 2 years ago, and there are 28 in between. Do you have more books in you?
Actually, I have 32 rather than 30 out there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I bring that up to say, except
But who's counting, right?
well, I bring that up to say, I think I've said all I want to say. I don't know that I've got another book in me. I keep thinking about it. Writing is, I'm telling you, Steve,
wow.
Writing is hard work.
Yes, it is.
And I've got some more thinking that I'd like to share. So I'm not sure that I'm absolutely through, but I don't have anything burning in me right now.
Which one is your favorite?
Unfair question.
Yeah.
They're all your babies. They're all your babies. I know that.
Exactly. You asked the mother, which is your favorite child? Well, interestingly enough, recently, I can tell you one of them that among the favorites is one I wrote on friendship. I think it's called Friends Under Construction. And most of my books were written on assignment with Standard Publishing Company. And that was one they assigned. And I really fell in love with the topic because, and I'm still in love with the topic because what we're seeing in our culture right now, a lot of studies are being done on how we don't have friends. And why so many of us are, particularly us men, are struggling because we don't have friends. And so, a fair question for me was asked, well, then how do you get friends? How do you make friends? How does this work? Women, this is a big generality, but women can kind of sit down, look each other in the eye and say, let's be friends. Men can't do that.
Yeah.
And so we become friends basically by the way. We're in sports together, we work together, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But it's one thing to make friends, and that's a big question. Then the other one is how do you keep them?
Yeah.
So
this is maybe an odd question, but when did you figure out that you loved words?
I don't take that as an odd question at all, because I've wondered that myself. I think, to be honest, I already told you I was a sickly kid, which means I read a lot. I'm no athlete at all, because I couldn't, as a kid, I couldn't run around the baseball diamond without collapsing at home plate and gasping for breath. I just didn't have it in me. So I think I fell in love with words as I compensated for not being able to play in the sports that my friends were all enjoying so much. So I started reading seriously, I'm recalling, in about the 5th grade. And I've just never stopped. And one of the joys I have in these retirement years is that I'm still reading. I also have to say one of the sadnesses for me is in not having my own pulpit regularly. I've kind of lost the outlet. I used to read to feed my speaking.
Right.
Well, now I just read and talk. Difference.
Yeah. Roy, you'll remember I called you years ago.
Oh, yeah. I know where you're going to go. Tell that story.
I was working on a series called The Classics, and I called him and I said, "Hey, I got a few of these in my mind. Can you tell me some more classics?" I was talking about now I can't even remember some of them.
Well, Dickens' Great Expectations was one I remember.
Yeah, Great Expectations, And he started telling me, I said, I don't need to know anything about the book. I need titles. And you're the guy I came to just to give me titles. And he's never let me forget that. He said, oh, do you need more titles?
Well, there was an old song that you reminded me of. The song was "You Only Build Me Up to Let Me Down." And so I thought, oh, wonderful! Bruce is starting to read.
Oh, that's great. All right, let's.
And it wasn't much help.
All right, let's wrap up this part of our conversation. But I do want to ask this. We've got a lot more to talk about, but Roy, what is left for you to do?
Oh, more of the same. As I reflect, this is not directly answering your question, but it is my answer. As I reflect over my genuinely blessed life, I can't imagine doing more, doing better, being more blessed, I already used the word, than I have been. And I just kind of want to keep on doing it. I think, we've traveled a lot. We've been to all 7 continents and 108 countries, I think, and all the states. Traveled a lot. I would still like to travel some more. Now, I think those days are about gone because of mobility issues. But if I can, I want to do that. I want to keep on investing one way or another in people. As you know, I've taken on another assignment. I'm an part-time associate pastor of a church nearby. I want to keep doing that. I just want to. I can't imagine anything else being more fun than what I've already done.
Yeah.
So I want to keep
cool.
on doing it.
That's great. All right, we've got more on the plate, and we will get to it right after this break. Welcome back to Wyatt Matters. We're talking with Roy Lawson, one of the great heroes of my life. And Roy, another one of the several things that we share in common is that we have both lost an adult child, and for reasons that break our hearts. And I lied earlier when I said that I don't remember anything that you ever spoke or you mentioned something that you said at Lane's funeral that I have never been able to get out of my mind, one that I have shared many, many times. And it is based on 1 Corinthians 13. Now, these 3 remain: faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. And what you wrote about in the magazine where I saw it is this: Lane knew that he was loved, and we know that he loved us. And although love is the greatest thing, it's not everything. They say that you can live on love, but I'm telling you, love is not enough. If it were a matter of living on love, Lane would have made it. But you see, these 3 remain: faith, hope, and love. So, Roy, would you do the backfill on this story, the circumstance?
Well, I will. I will. It's interesting. Obviously, I've had a lot of time to think about it, and I had forgotten that I said that at the funeral until reflecting on it later. But it is true. This is one of the biggest lessons we learned from Lane's death. He also had health issues. He had struggled, really, for the most part of his nearly 27 years with a condition that was called neurochemical depression. And we'd even seen it when he was a child and all the way through the rest of his life. periods where he would spiral down, couldn't get himself out, and that was complicated by all kinds of allergies, neurochemical, meaning, of course, we lived in Arizona, so the air pollution, the very air that he breathed, all of these complicating factors. But we had a rich, warm, wonderful family life, and he was kind of at the center of it. The last guy you would ever expect to take his own life. So the love was there. But he was struggling with issues of faith. And being a preacher's kid, of course, he knew he didn't want to be all that his father wanted. On the other hand, he was not in rebellion. He was searching, but his faith was insecure at that stage. We learned from his girlfriend that he was on his way back to a more secure faith, but he wasn't there yet. Well, if your faith is gone, what do you have to hope for? And so, if it's true that hope is what makes us get up in the morning, or at least helps us to get up in the morning, and you don't have that hope, his body was fighting him as well, and he was feeling that he was on a downward trajectory. So the faith was challenged, the hope was disappearing. All he had left was love, and it wasn't enough. That was the point. And I've subsequently applied that much more broadly. That's just true of love, of life as a whole. It's true of a marriage. It's true of any relationship. It takes more than just love. Though, to listen to popular music, etc., we think that love conquers all. Unfortunately, it doesn't.
Yes. You, your latest book is on this topic. It's called "Son, We Need to Talk" by LeRoy Lawson. You can find it on Amazon, and I encourage you to do so because it is so transparent, at times very raw, and yet filled with hope. And you talk in the book often about your struggle to regain your footing after Lane was gone. And I think one of the aspects of those who don't believe, who maybe are at some point along the way in their journey to believe, is a lack of transparency on the part of those of us who do. Just the sense that we rise above all of these maladies of life. But you are very transparent about your journey, especially in this book. And I commend you for that, and I think it will draw many people in, just the fact that you spoke with that level of transparency. The depression. I know that Lane is not the only one in your family that has dealt with this same issue, but the depression that you said you observed throughout his life, I'm sure you tried to address that and tried to redirect and help. How frustrating was that for you to not be able to fix it? Dads fix things, right?
You just took the words out of my mouth. I felt so helpless, so inadequate, and you can imagine. You don't have to imagine, Steve. You've been there. The guilt that accompanies, and not just a tragic death like our son's, but it's interesting that almost always when we lose a loved one, we're overcome with guilt. I could have done this. I should have done that. If only I had said that. And so we have kind of a spiritual crisis ourselves. My crisis was not, interestingly enough, so much a loss of faith in God. I didn't wrestle with that very much. Some people would have said, why me, God? Why our family, God? I'm an ordained pastor, for heaven's sakes. How can this happen to me? But then I had to realize, why not me? Because I have an ordination certificate on the wall, does not guarantee that I will not have all other human experiences that come with just being alive. And so I didn't think God was beating up on me or cheating us or in any way abusing our family. My loss of faith was in myself. And it was because, as you said, I couldn't fix it. And so I would go back and think through those years when we were together. Oh, if I had done this. Oh, if I had done that. And something I can't recall whether I put that in this book or not, but I have never felt qualified to be a minister. You guys speak so kindly of my ministry, but when I was young, the reason that I became a teacher as well as a preacher is that I felt I needed a backup plan if I flunked out as a pastor. It's the truth. And I said in those days, well, if I fail as a preacher, what I am is a teacher. Now, if I fail as a teacher, what I really am is a grocer, because my dad owned a grocery store. So I really never felt qualified to be a minister. That has not ever fully gone away. But when he died, of course, one of my big struggles was, can I keep going as an unqualified minister? Mm-hmm. And fortunately, at that time, I was doing both jobs. I was the pastor of the church in Arizona and the president of the college in California. And the next year, I had a sabbatical coming. And I thought, if I can just hang on to my sabbatical, maybe I can return from that sabbatical sane, which is how it turned out. And I was able to keep going. But there was a time there that I wasn't sure I could keep going, or that I should. Certainly not that I deserved to keep going. Do you resonate with any of that, Steve?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I struggled with, and I still have not made peace with, is why didn't she come to me?
Yeah.
And I mean, she spoke freely with her brother and sister, but for some reason, as warm and as wonderful as our bond was, and it was, she was my princess and I was her daddy, even as she was approaching 40. I'm a minister. Everybody comes to me, right? Everybody brings their problems, and yet my own daughter struggled to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm identifying with that. But in Lane's case, he knew he could come. In fact, he knew that his mother was due to arrive in Oregon, where he was living at the time, because we suspected there was a problem. And he knew she was coming, and that triggered the timing of his. He had already made the decision. It just triggered the timing, which is a pretty good illustration of a reality about life, and that is we do not make other people's decisions for them.
That's right.
And part of my coming to terms with Lane and with God in all of this was, I don't think God wanted my son to die any more than I did. But we could not make his decision, and he made a dumb decision. It was a terrible decision, but it was his decision,
right?
And we had to deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
But I've thought about that so often, because even as a minister, I've watched the people that I minister to just make some of the awfulest decisions in their personal lives, and I could fix them if they just listened to me. I couldn't fix my own son.
Right.
I can't fix theirs. We can't fix anybody else.
Right.
And there's a certain amount of peace that comes with that final recognition. We are not God.
Yeah. Uh, the church has not been kind on this topic throughout the years. And I'm wondering your experience with that, first of all, and how your understanding of God and His grace for someone who makes this decision. Just explore it. Wander around all you want.
Well, you're right. The church historically has not been kind at all about it. So one of the things I'm doing in these speeches and seminars that I'm doing, I try to address that. I had to realize if God is a God of love, and I truly believe it, then God loves my son as much as I do. And I could not imagine any decision that my son would have made that would have driven him from me, including this dumb decision of suicide. So I cannot imagine God, who loves my son, casting him into perdition for making a bad choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the approach that I take when talking about it. It's an approach I had to take in dealing with myself, you know. Mm-hmm. And it gave me a whole new understanding of the cross that is so central to the Christian experience. And that is, if one thing, several things God was, I think, signaling by the cross. One is this is what love is all about. Real love will lead to sacrifice. Somebody has got to do the sacrificing. So that was very much a part of the reality for me. And as I've already said, I cannot imagine a God who's communicating love the way He did, casting souls into hell. The other thing that hit me was I've lost my only son. That's the heart of the gospel.
Yes.
God lost His only son. Now you could say, yeah, but He knew He was going to get him back. Yes. That's a part of the gospel as well.
That's right. That's right. Wow. I don't even know that I want to say this out loud, but I have learned through my story to embrace, if not even anticipate, the sufferings of life. I remember as a young man, I blew my knee out playing football at college, and I had the arthritic knee of a 90-year-old, I was told by my doctor by the time I was 30, and the pain was so excruciating, I told myself often, probably told others as well, that this was going to be the cross that I would bear. This was my place of suffering. And little did I know what God had in store for me. But I truly understand Scripture when it talks about the sanctifying wonder that is suffering. With every circumstance that I have faced, it has drawn me closer to Jesus. Primarily because I have learned with each one to embrace it rather than resist it. I know you have your laundry list as well of suffering. Have you had a similar experience?
Oh boy, I couldn't help thinking while you were talking of the ancient Greek playwright Aeschylus, who said so simply, wisdom comes through suffering. I don't know whether it comes in any other way, ultimately. Now, some of that suffering is vicarious. We suffer with others who are suffering. But I'm going to talk about old people again. But the old people that I know who are the most unhappy are not those who suffered the most, but those who didn't, who have no comprehension. And let's go back to your arthritic knee. Compared with what you suffered when you lost your child, what's an arthritic knee?
Exactly.
You know, it's when we're in the depths of that suffering that things fall into perspective, and nothing helps us to ease our way through life better than a broadened perspective. And so when I'm getting with my old friends, and I've got several now that I'm in constant communication with, all of them have lost somebody, and or on the verge of losing somebody. What I wasn't prepared for when I was young, because I knew that I would, if I lived to be old, I would lose a lot of my friends through death. I did not realize then how many I would be losing through dementia.
Oh my!
Which is another heartache. Well, anyway, putting this all together, maybe I could say this. Two things, as I've contemplated my whole career, both in education and in pastoral ministry, the two things, apart from my formal education, that taught me the most, that prepared me the most for what I would be doing, were my parents' divorce when I was young, and my son's death when I wasn't young. Through both of those experiences, a depth came into me that would not have come in any other way. And for that, I am grateful.
Well, I couldn't agree more with that. During my kidney journey, when it all came down, I was rudely awakened one morning by the pounding on my front door. I struggled because it had been a rough night. I struggled to get to the door. I opened it to a police officer who announced, Mr. Wyatt, your doctor has dispatched me to come get you and to get you to the hospital because he said, if you don't get him there now, he's a dead man. And so we traveled there quickly, and then the story of my kidney failure began to unfold. And along the way, because of the timing of it all, it was a lonely journey. We were right smack dab in the middle of COVID. And so every appointment, every dialysis treatment, I sat there alone. And yes, that was painful, but that was when I learned, quite unlike any other experience of my life, dependency upon the Lord. Because there was no one else I could turn to in that moment. It was powerful for me.
I'm finding a movement in my last years here that I didn't anticipate when I was young. I'm getting more religious. I mean by that, I'm turning more and more to Jesus' life and his example to make my way through all kinds of things. The political confusions of our day, the what looks like the disintegration of much of our culture, the international scene, all of that, and all the solutions or proposals that are put out there for solving all these problems. I keep coming back to the simplicity of Jesus' teaching, the primacy of love, for one thing, and then that incredible lesson on the cross that and I'm reading I'm reading the Bible. All those years, I was preparing sermons and all that. Of course, I was studying the Bible. Now, I'm just enjoying it. I'm thoroughly. I did a series of 6 lectures last fall for a seniors camp, at a senior adult camp out in Oregon, and they could let me do what I wanted to do. And so I spent 6 sermons in the Garden of Eden. I just entitled it "An Old Man Returns to the Garden," and I said, I'm not going to talk to you as a preacher. This is the English teacher in me. So I took it as a piece of literature that didn't deal with all of the critical issues, the scholarly things that people like to argue about. I just wanted to know, why has that story stayed with us so long? Well, it stayed with us so long because it's who we are. It's what we do. But the reason I'm telling this long story right now is just to say, that wasn't the first time that I'd been in Genesis. I wrote a book on Genesis. But this time, I just went in as an old man, full of years, still full of questions, and spent the time in the scriptures with these other old people who got it. They knew what I was talking about, and what I was talking about was the biggest issues of life. Okay, I'm starting to preach a sermon. It's time for me to stop.
That's great. I have one final question that I'd like us to discuss. But before I ask that, I just want to say to our audience that this conversation, as well as all of our Wyatt Matter content, is made available because of the good people at YRefi. YRefi is an amazing company that is helping a whole lot of people. And if you are currently under the load of a private student loan debt and you can't find your way through, give us a call at YRefi. We can help. We do help many, many, many people. So just go to YRefi, that's the letter Y, REFY.com. Also, we are excited about our future as we move through the holiday season. In January, we're going to also add television to our lineup, and we're very excited about that. We encourage you to pray for us in that, because I have no clue what I'm doing. And second, that you look for us and support us there as well. So thank you for giving me opportunity to do that. One more thing is Roy's book. What's it called again, Roy? Son, we
need to talk.
We need to talk. I can't encourage you to get the book any more strongly than I am right now. I am now on my 3rd pathway through, and it speaks to me at levels each time I pass through that is very meaningful to me. So go to Amazon, search it, buy it. You will be blessed by it. So, Roy, the day will come, unless Jesus returns first, when all of us will pass from this life to the next. And if you're like me, it's almost something that you're looking forward to. I know that I am. I want to live every moment God gives me, but I also anticipate that time when I pass from this life to the next. But when that moment comes, and let's say someone asks Bruce to speak at your service, what would you like him to say?
Better question is, what would you don't want him to say? I got stories.
Yeah, that was not a good lead in, Steve.
I guess I failed on that one.
It was perfect.
Oh my, oh my. I think I would want him to express that here lies an old man who loved the Lord, tried his best to love his neighbor, and found joy in doing so.
Could you say that again and let me write that down?
Oh, that's great.
Hey, without any prompting, I pretty much would have said not maybe exactly, but that when Steve asked that, I thought, well, he loved the Lord, he loved people, he loved the Word, and he loved his wife.
Well, see, when I use the word joy, there's always a double entendre there.
I caught that. I did as well. Oh, well, this has been rich, Roy, and I appreciate you making time in your busy schedule. I'm sure you're about ready to board a plane and go off to Timbuktu or somewhere. But I thank you for taking the time to talk with us, talk with this audience that is largely made up of younger people who are searching, and it's people with stories like you who are willing to tell them with authenticity and transparency that helps those very people find their way to Jesus. Something you've been doing your whole life, and you continue even now. God bless you. I love you, brother. Love you, Bruce. This has been wonderful.
Thank you both. Wonderful being with you. God bless.
Yes.